everyone, today we're going to do a review of the game Sagrada Artisans by Floodgate Games. Hey everyone, welcome to Studio 3. I'm Shantelle.
I'm Jonah.
I'm Sara.
And I'm Will, and today we are sharing our opinions on the game Artisans Sagrada, which is the new legacy version of, I think, at least hers, and maybe all of ours, one of our favorite games. Is this true?
Yes.
How does Sagrada rank on you guys? The OG, how does it rank on you guys' top 10 list?
Pretty high, I would say.
It's definitely in the top 15.
All right, I'll take that.
It's a good game.
How high on your list?
My list changes a lot, but it is, I would say, top 20 games of all time.
Yeah, it's a high game. We've all enjoyed it very much. We are going to be talking about the new legacy version. Obviously, right out of the gate, we need to let you know that there probably will be some types of spoilers in this game. We can't really show you...
Keep it to a minimum.
Yeah, we can't really show you the basics of the game without at least talking about some of the things. So if you're wanting a totally spoiler-free review, you're going to have to go somewhere else. But if you're interested in how some of the mechanics work in the game, getting a peek at some of the pages in the book, then stick around because we're getting ready to jump in.
The OG Sagrada featured the design talents of Adrian Adamescu and Daryl Andrews, along with art from Peter Walken, and the trio came back to knock this new Artisan Legacy version out of the park. The new game features the same dice drafting mechanic where players will snake draft 2 dice in each turn in order to place them into their stained glass window, along with some of the mechanics that were introduced in the Sagrada expansions like unique goals, tools, and additional dice. In Artisans, we follow a dramatized account of the actual historic events surrounding the Sagrada Familia from its original design, execution, fiery destruction, and rebuilding. And while the story unfolds, so do the pages of this new roll and write version of the game. Each round of the game will be played on a new page, and players will use their colored pencils to actually color in and build their windows. They will follow the same adjacency rules as before, having to write in a number and color next to a previously drawn number, while having to avoid matching colors and numbers next to each other. Each player's book features 10 different puzzles, and the game introduces tons of fun twists, envelopes to open, new rules to reveal, dice to add to the pool, as well as several other surprises along the way.
Alright, so that's how you play the game. That's a little bit about it. And honestly, I know this is hot take coming in quick, but it's got to be one of the top legacy games I've ever played. It really does. It's got everything you need. So the biggest thing to me was theme. It followed theme really well.
I liked it.
Hidden reveals, right? I don't want to spoil too much, but the ability to add things throughout the game, a couple of superpowers, I'd call them, that you can kind of stack on, right? That I'm kind of working toward all legacy campaign. It's got, of course, the same fun that you're having in playing the original Sagrada. We've got some puzzles that are pretty difficult. We've got some that are kind of on the easier side, but it's kind of building you up. I loved it.
Yeah, so just in continuation with what Jonah was saying, there were a lot of puzzles that were super complicated that really made you think. More thinking than I thought I could think, honestly. One of my favorite parts, without giving too much, was the envelopes. Just having to open a new piece to the puzzle, I guess you could say. More tools, that was really nice. Different types of tools that we haven't seen before, that we haven't experienced in Sagrada before either. I really enjoyed that. I like that there were certain puzzles where you had to be a little bit more competitive than other puzzles, where I'm trying to look at your puzzle and see if you're trying to go towards the same goal I'm going towards so I can get more points. I really liked that aspect a lot.
One thing I enjoyed about the Sagrada Artisans game is that if you did really well, you were rewarded well, especially on the last few games. They ramped up in difficulty a lot.
I enjoyed that part.
So I know Will tried to employ some strategy of do okay the first few games, and then the last few I got to win.
You mean not his cheating that he normally does?
Yeah.
It was all part of
We're not going to talk about that. I also like that if you didn't do well, you were still rewarded as a catch-up mechanic to try and do better the next game. I had several games, the first few, where I got first or second, and I wasn't given any benefits moving on. So there were a couple games in the middle I was like, oh no, becomes really hard. But that allowed other players to then shine and do well on those windows so that they could, get some of the legacy points that are given out each of the games that you play. Another thing I really enjoyed was, like Shantelle said, the new tools that are involved. There's several that are ones that are in the base game, but there's some new things that are brought into the game and new ways to play that I had never anticipated Sagrada being pushed in that direction. So I think the second to the last window was one of the most difficult as far as adjacency rules. You weren't giving very much to work with, so you really had to hope that great dice were rolled that round. And then we realized we had played pretty cutthroat against each other, and we didn't realize that we got to the last couple games and we're like, we haven't even unlocked all these envelopes that we know are here, because we have been trying to fight over building the cathedral together. So just something to think about when you play, that maybe you don't need to be so mean to each other.
Untrue. I think I agree with pretty much everything that has been said. Very enjoyable experience. One of the things I enjoyed most was that ramp up of the difficulty of those puzzles. You start off at the beginning, it feels very familiar, you know what you're doing, easy peasy. As new tools get introduced, as new rules get added to the pool, as those windows change dramatically, those last couple, like
they were tough. They were tough.
Each turn took like 3 times longer than the turns at the beginning of the game. I would also love to see somebody just jump into the highest level puzzle and see if their brains explode. The game does a really great job of like teaching you and helping you, and you like improve your abilities as you go throughout the course of the game, which I thought was very neat.
Yeah, you don't want to play me in the base game of Sagrada now. I'm very good.
Oh yeah,
Right.
same.
I will say that going into the game, I think my strategy worked well. I did win it. It is a competitive game. I don't even know if we mentioned that. You are trying to earn those legacy stars throughout the course of the game. And if you look at the back puzzle, which shows you how many stars each puzzle is worth, like, it is crucial that you win those last couple of windows, because they're going to give you so many stars. And so I didn't intentionally lose early in the game, but I knew that the more tools that I had going into that final round was going to help out. I'll also happily and freely admit that I was lucky. Like, some of this game,
very lucky that last game.
while maybe the last two,
The dice rolls were in Will's favor.
while being about skill and strategy and like figuring out the puzzle, the tools that you're going to use in the course of the game, I'm going to spoil a little bit, you have to roll to keep them. So every time you use a tool, you've got to roll a higher number to be able to keep that tool. I was on fire.
There was a lot of sixes.
We were losing all of our tools.
I'm keeping tools, like I'm hoarding them in and pulling them in. These guys can't keep one to save their lives. They helped me out immensely in the final game. So there was some luck in the game. However, I do feel like the skill level that we all achieved and flowed with over the course of the game was very cool.
Yep.
As we mentioned, there were some surprises. I'm not going to say what they were, but there were some cool twists, some additional things that I didn't see coming that were like, oh, aha, cool moments, which I very much enjoyed. I would say the only thing that I didn't like about the game was that we didn't get to like sit down and play 10 in a row. So we did it over the course of several months we've been playing this game. And when you came back to sit down, there was a little bit of like okay, I gotta flip this thing to pull out these pieces, and I gotta reread these rules. And I don't even remember what happened in the last game. Like, there's enough going on at each round of the game that if you're able to, like, sit down and play all the way through it, because
Not necessarily in one. Like, I would say at least once a week.
10 straight
Try
hours.
once a week.
10 straight
Once a week would be my suggestion, or more. Because there's enough going on that it will be difficult to remember.
And and it's just like there's a lot of setup. So the game itself is like a 45-minute to an hour session probably per puzzle, but getting everybody's pieces back out, adding the little stickers that you forgot to add or you overlooked and you forgot, and like doing it, there was a decent amount of setup to the game. However, the thing that I did enjoy about the game was that, unlike a lot of the other legacy games that I've played, this one, because it's competitive, which a lot of the legacy games are cooperative, since it was competitive, like, you wanted it each time. I think sometimes in the cooperative ones, you're kind of just like, take my turn, I hope that the zombies don't kill us all. In this one, it was like, okay, I gotta get the most points, I gotta win. I really enjoyed, like, the intensity of this gameplay. For being, like, a casual puzzle-solving game, it was intense.
So the gameplay is 2 to 4 players. I think you're going to have more fun playing at 4. Would you guys agree?
Yes.
I think if we played at 2, I just want to do it again with 4. Right?
Yeah.
I want to play with 4. And it also is recommended for ages 10 and up. 10 seems nuts to me. Based on the last couple of puzzles. The first couple of puzzles, sure. No problem. The last couple of puzzles,
they can
10-year-olds.
play, but
Daryl
they're
and
not
Adrian,
winning.
how did you design these? They were hard.
I
They
would
were
agree with
very
that.
hard.
10-year-old can absolutely play, but if you thought they were going to beat you on those last puzzles, there's no chance, right?
Amazing luck required.
Yeah, it's a brain burner on those last couple. So I enjoyed that. Like Will said, it does probably take an hour to play gameplay every time you sit down to play a chapter of this legacy game. But with the setup, probably give yourself 30 more minutes to set up and tear down and read the expose on what happened.
And sharpen your pencils.
Yeah, there you go.
Make sure you have the right shade of orange.
So much going on in this game, something that we very thoroughly enjoyed. Another thing I would say too is that I've played some legacy games, and when I was done, I was done. I don't need to go back to them. I don't need to play them. I know the story. I know the twists and turns. This is like a puzzle-solving personal game. So I would absolutely replay all 10 scenarios
same.
again.
Oh, yeah.
I would love to replay scenario 10 more times and just see, like, can I get smarter?
Yeah, like some games, the reveals, once you know them, it's kind of a letdown the next time you might play. This one is not like that at all. Even though you know what's coming, you still have to play each window very well.
You still have to play a game of Sagrada.
Yeah.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
you
The
still
refill
have to
pack
get it done, right?
resales on this will be
Yeah.
high, because
Yeah.
I'm ready to refill now and go around with another.
Yeah, and I feel like if you were to play it again, you wouldn't have to necessarily, you would want to play it in order, but you could, you'd know what's
could
coming.
just play the puzzles.
You
yeah.
could just
Yeah.
play the puzzles and do them individually with other friends. They would be real hard to do the last 4 or 5 without having ramped up
Some
to it.
power-ups.
Yeah.
Right?
For sure. Highly recommended, Artisans. If you enjoyed the original Sagrada at all, you definitely have to check this out. It's a ton of fun. We thoroughly enjoyed it. We might have to put some additional content together. I'm sure we'll have some stuff on our podcast as well, or maybe we'll recount some of the tales from my victory. We'll see. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, though. Following along. Be sure to like and subscribe. We got more great stuff like this coming at you very soon.
Dude.
Can't believe you won.
I can't believe it either.
Yeah, I don't normally lose.
Those tool rolls on the end. Like, when I was like, I literally closed my eyes
from,
because I
like,
didn't
the
want to
fifth
know.
game
I was like,
on,
do
I
I get to
could
keep
keep
this tool? 6 again!
Which is a little wild because we
What do
had
you
so
mean
much
you don't
time.
normally lose? You do,
I don't
to
know.
me.
Not to Will. I definitely
Well, we got it on
literally the 5th game to the 10th game, 2 months, and my luck on keeping these tools did not change. I couldn't keep them.
No.
Because I at least threw away like 3 before you guys realized you should have them. And I was like, I'm trying hard.
I had like 7, change your color to any number, make it a 6, ignore adjacency rules. I had more tools than I was allowed to use per game,
Yeah.
which was also
And I
awesome.
had 4 tools the entire
He even
campaign.
got the add one.
The
he
entire-
even
The
got
entire
bad
campaign,
tool
I had
thing
4 tools.
and still kept all his tools. And he had the
That was amazing.
yeah.
Make it harder and
I was
still
able
keep it?
to hold more tools, and at the last one, literally lost all my tools.
That's
so
painful. I agree
it
with
was
that.
yes. I used 2 tools and I lost them both.
both of them. Oh, I remember.
Yes,
you
you
rolled
remember?
ones, or-
Yes, I
2
rolled.
ones.
I
That's
rolled
crazy.
like 2 1s.
Worst feeling.
Yeah.
Correct.
That's nuts.
Good stuff.